Most people trying to trigger autophagy are accidentally shutting it off, and in this explainer, we're going to uncover exactly why, focusing specifically on the cellular cleanup science for adults over 50. I'm Dr. Juni. We're going to walk through the actual nuanced science of what triggers your body's renewal system, because, it turns out autophagy isn't just a simple on-off switch. It's a delicate cascade, a multi-trigger biological process that responds to a very specific combination of signals inside your body. So let's dive right into this counterintuitive truth. Right when your body's building manager is finally starting to clean up the dangerous cellular debris, a really simple morning habit might be sending the entire crew home. Think of your cells kind of like an aging apartment building. Over time, garbage naturally accumulates, right? Left unchecked, the whole place becomes hazardous. Autophagy is basically the building manager coming in with a mop and broom to recycle that garbage. But so many of us are unknowingly locking the lobby door on that manager just as they arrive for their shift. Part 1. AMPK versus mTOR, our cellular gatekeepers. To truly master your metabolic health without, extreme suffering, you've got to understand the constant tug of war happening right now between these two pathways. Let's establish our foundation here. The word autophagy literally means self-eating in Greek. Now I know that sounds horrifying, but it's actually your internal anti-aging system. The Japanese scientist Yoshinori Asumi actually won the 2016 Nobel Prize for mapping this exact mechanism. Sadly, though, this natural cleanup crew gets way slower and less efficient as we age. By our 50s and 60s, our cells have accumulated decades of molecular debris, misfolded proteins, damaged mitochondria, stuff directly linked to neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We have to intentionally turn this system back on. And the tension here is just fascinating. Autophagy is regulated by two primary gatekeepers, AMPK and mTOR. AMPK is your energy stress signal. When your body senses it's running low on energy, it activates AMPK, which switches autophagy on. It's the survival signal that literally says, hey, time to clean house. mTOR, on the other hand, is the nutrient sensor. When mTOR senses nutrients, it suppresses autophagy entirely. It's like an overzealous construction foreman shouting, "We've got building materials, halt the cleanup, start building." You simply cannot have a crew tearing down drywall and putting up new framing in the exact same room at the exact same time. It just doesn't work. Part 2. The real fasting timeline and what actually happens. Fasting is absolutely the most well-established way to activate AMPK and suppress mTOR. But the timeline, it's far more nuanced than most online content suggests. Looking at the first 8 to 12 hours, your body is really just on standby. At 12 to 14 hours, your liver glycogen runs low and AMPK starts shifting. But your cells only hit measurable autophagy at the 16-hour mark. It doesn't just switch on like a light bulb, it builds momentum. It practically peaks for daily maintenance right between 18 and 20 hours, where your autophagic flux, which is just the actual rate at which cells clear debris, increases significantly, and you get all of this without the risks of crazy multi-day water fasts. But right here, right in this beautiful window of cellular renewal, is where the tragic mistake happens. The crucial point is this. Sipping branched-chain amino acids, collagen, or supposedly fast-friendly workout supplements during your fasting window spikes your insulin and triggers mTOR. This literally slams the brakes on autophagy instantly. People think they're being metabolically strategic to preserve muscle, but they are literally shutting off the exact system they just worked 16 hard hours to activate. And it takes almost nothing to cause this disruption. Just 2 to 3 grams of the amino acid leucine is enough to trigger mTOR. That is a microscopic amount. We're talking roughly what you'd find in just a few bites of whole food protein. The moment that tiny bit of leucine hits your system, bam, the construction foreman wakes up, blows the whistle, and the cleanup crew goes home cold. So we're left with a bit of a tension. If you're over 50, you absolutely need adequate protein to preserve muscle and prevent sarcopenia. But to preserve muscle without sabotaging your autophagy efforts, you must practice protein timing. Step 1 is breaking your fast gently with low leucine foods. Think fruits, vegetables, or healthy fats. This allows the autophagic momentum to kind of coast a bit longer before a massive mTOR spike. Step 2 is delaying those heavy proteins like a big steak or a highly potent whey protein shake until your second or third meal. You still get your daily protein, you just don't front load it the absolute second you end your fast. Part 3. fasted exercise and how it amplifies autophagy. You see, fasting alone really only gets you about 60% of the way there. Layering in movement, that is the multiplier. Exercise depletes glycogen and induces mechanical stress, which are massive autophagy signals. But the type of exercise matters deeply. For folks over 50, a brisk walk or moderate jog is actually producing way more net autophagic benefit per unit of effort than intense, exhausting interval training. High-intensity work triggers a massive mTOR growth response for repair. Moderate aerobic work, however, keeps us beautifully locked right into the AMPK-driven cleanup mode. Stacking these signals is exactly where the magic happens. Combining moderate aerobic exercise at the very end of your 16-plus hour fasting window is the absolute highest leverage action you can take. You are beautifully compounding that cellular energy stress. Then, on separate days, adding resistance training after you've broken your fast, so in a fed state, triggers something called mitophagy. This is a highly specific cleanup process that targets your damaged cellular power plants, the mitochondria, which is honestly absolutely vital for maintaining your long-term physical capacity as you age. Part 4. Triggers beyond the fast. Now, you definitely don't need to starve yourself for days to get these benefits. There are potent, evidence-backed triggers you can stack right on top of your daily routine. Compounds like spermidine, which is found richly in wheat germ, natto, and mushrooms, and polyphenols from green tea or apples actually mimic fasting signals on a cellular level without requiring you to extend your fast. Furthermore, autophagy follows a circadian rhythm. It naturally peaks while you sleep, so optimizing your sleep protects this rhythm. And finally, adding sauna sessions provides a separate, heat-induced cellular stress pathway. You're essentially building this beautiful symphony of subtle signals. Part 5. Safe protocols specifically for adults over 50. Let's bring all of this remarkable science together into a highly practical framework designed specifically for an older demographic, where our margin for metabolic error is naturally a little bit smaller. The entire goal here is hormesis. This is finding that Goldilocks zone of moderate consistent stress to signal the cleanup crew. Because if you push too hard with multi-day water fasts or chronic undereating, your body interprets it as starvation. Cortisol rises, thyroid function suppresses, and muscle breakdown accelerates. We want controlled, strategic stress that produces lasting resilience, not a systemic emergency. Your weekly blueprint should focus on intelligent, moderate stacking. Just imagine your day. A 16 to 18-hour fast with absolutely no hidden sugars. We're talking only water or plain black coffee, ending with some light cardio. You break your fast gently to preserve that AMPK signal, eat adequate protein later in the day to protect your muscles, and ruthlessly protect your 8-hour sleep fast. Adding a sauna or cold plunge if possible, that just tops it off. This compounding effect of consistent, moderate autophagic signaling is far more valuable and way more sustainable than occasional extreme interventions. Reversing age-related decline doesn't require extreme suffering or wildly expensive supplement stacks. It simply requires the consistent strategic restoration of the environment your cells evolved to thrive in. By respecting the delicate balance between AMPK and mTOR, we can truly reclaim our metabolic health. So ask yourself, are you ready to rethink your morning routine, put down those BCAAs during your fast, and finally get out of your cellular cleanup cruise way?